Hey everybody, hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to another exciting episode and a big episode of CSGO News. As always, let's get right into it. And as we head into day 3 of ESL Cologne Major, we did already have 4 of our 8 quarterfinal teams qualified to become those 8 legendary teams. As you guys know, in the next major, the 8 quarterfinal teams will be known as legendary teams and automatically qualify for the next major. Those first 4 teams determined on day 2 were those teams who actually won their groups by going 2-0 or undefeated in those group stages. And the first one in Group A was surprisingly Gambit Gaming as they took down Astralis in dominating fashion. I believe that match was 16-6, and Gambit Gaming did take Group A. We also had Navi take Group B as they narrowly beat NIP 16-12. I'm going to touch on this a lot in this video, guys. The fact that Cobblestone is kind of flip-flop. They beat NIP on Cobblestone in a score of 16-12 as NIP really struggled to have any sort of CT sense. And, throughout this major, just to note, guys, including day 1 matchup versus G2 and SK, also on Cobblestone, it was G2 who lost SK because they also could not succumb to any sort of CT side. Normally, before this major, Cobblestone known as one of those heavier, by a few rounds favored CT-sided maps, but crazily throughout this major, it has been all T-sided. So in that G2 SK matchup, also in the NIP Navi match, it was G2 and NIP who really failed to actually get any sort of CT round wins. Each of those teams only got 3 CT wins, and that's why they lost those matches. Now, further proving this side, we also had Virtus.pro take down Group C and take down Liquid to win Group C and move on to the quarterfinals. They defeated them 12-16. Liquid falling just short in that 12-16 match, and again, it was also on Cobblestone, and again, it was Liquid with only 3 CT wins and losing that match. So further confidence, guys, and further evidence here that throughout this major so far, these maps are anyone's game, and anyone can play any side. And joining Gambit Gaming, Navi, and Virtus.pro as that 4th team to automatically qualify through day 2 of ESL Cologne was indeed SK Gaming, who beat FaZe Clan quite handily 16-6 to secure the Group D of death, that is, but it was bound to happen in that group of death. It came down to an elimination match between 2 of the top teams in the world, arguably 2 of the top 5 teams in the world, as it was G2 versus Fnatic, and that loser would be sent home. And indeed, this time around, that loser was G2 as they barely lost to Fnatic 13-16 on Train, almost came back at the end, but Fnatic closed out the game, and they will move on to elimination match that's going around right now. So as of right now, guys, those are the first 4 qualified teams, and I will now discuss the next 4 teams to make our 8 legendary teams in the quarterfinals of ESL Cologne. And the other 4 teams joining Gambit, Navi, Virtus.pro, and SK in the quarterfinals will be, first of all, Astralis, who barely bested out Dignitas with technically 2 stand-in players. As many of you guys know, they couldn't play with Kirby this major, and they also had to replace Dupreeh, who was hospitalized. We'll talk about that next story, but he was replaced by Zonic, their coach. That he played for them very, very well, as Astralis did defeat Dignitas in the 3rd map of that best-of-3 series. They'll be their 5th team in, also joined by Flipside in the upset so far of the entire major, as they took down another top team in the world, top 5 team in the world that is. They took down NIP in a 3rd map there in pretty good fashion there. So Flipside will be our 6th team in, and other than that, guys, we also will have our only North American team. That will be Team Liquid, who bested Mousesports there in a very dominant fashion. They beat Mousesports 2-0, and our last team to make it to the quarterfinals, our 8th legendary team of this, will most likely be Fnatic. That game is actually going on right now, that best-of-3 series. Fnatic did take that first match 16-9, and the current map set number 2 is actually going as we speak. So we can guess that Fnatic's going to win that, but it's all in the power of FaZe right now. They could still take it. I would not be surprised, but most likely going to be Fnatic in that 8th spot. And also, as I touched on very briefly earlier, yes, it's Astralis' very own Dupreeh, who was hospitalized just 2 days ago, apparently with an appendix infection. Now, no news whether they can cure that infection or whether they have to remove the appendix completely, but here's a picture of the team visiting him. A very, very sad story there, because as all of you know, they are technically playing without Kirby, one of their better players they picked up not too long ago, and now Coach Zonic will be filling in his shoes for Dupreeh as well. So they are having Glaive, a very good stand-in for them for Kirby for this major. He's been performing quite well, and then also Zonic. So a lot of team shifts going on for their roster. Astralis definitely not performing too badly, especially for the circumstance they've been presented with, but also one of those teams that's not been known to do too well under these big major tournaments. So best of luck to Astralis. They're in the quarterfinals. Best of luck to Dupreeh. Hopefully he heals up soon and has fun watching the team instead. So very big news there. And in no way am I denying Astralis being one of the best teams in the world. It's just under these big pressure major tournaments, when it comes to major prize pools, they have not done well in the past. In an absolutely huge CSGO news today, we have very disturbing news on this big news channel for today, and this is our biggest story for today. And yesterday, it was the disqualifying of both the former SK Gaming roster and the LG team rosters from this season of ELEAGUE. And I mean this current season of ELEAGUE. When I first read this announcement, I thought, oh, they mean season 2. No, it's this current season of ELEAGUE, which is really insane because, as you guys know, the LG, the now SK roster, had already qualified for ELEAGUE's quarterfinals, the next group stage, and the former SK and now Team X roster, besides they changed 2 players within the fair rule book, earned a spot in the last chance qualifier. Now, it seems that both of these teams have already been removed, as well as North American team CLG replacing the former Team SK, now Team X, in the last chance qualifier. And then we also had Cloud9 replacing LG, now SK Gaming, in that actual quarterfinal match. So it seems very suspicious that we have all these North American teams filling in these positions. Obviously, they were the next teams in, so they earned those spots, but it's really kind of hard to argue because, you know, these North American teams apparently had pressured these guys into making this choice. So more on that. And of course, not too long after all this happened, after they disqualified the SK and LG rosters, it came out that several NA organizations, North American organizations that is, no one knows the exact number, but upwards of 7 or 8 organizations and teams, including CLG and Cloud9, the teams that were, you know, in that next slot for the last chance qualifier in the quarterfinals, but they were just, you know, barely outside, all had pressured Eleague and their commissioners or sent in requests to disqualify the teams. And let's not forget, this is a North American hosted event, which is, you know, a problem of favoritism. Of course, these Eleague commissioners, we can't say that they were more influenced by these North American organizations than by other organizations, but it seems very, very weary, and, you know, it completes a very, very big conflict of interest when you have these North American organizations pressuring a North American tournament to disqualify non-North American teams. I hope you guys understand that. Also, on top of this, we have the former SK Gaming or Team X roster only changing 2 of their players, which is all within the Eleague guidelines and rulebook. They did not break any rules that I know of right now, and especially the LG roster too. That's what people are saying, that apparently they had not broken any of the Eleague rulebook rules, and so they were disqualified just because of that peer pressure. And that's what's on the topic of really big craziness right now, is because people don't know what rules they exactly broke. So for me, the bottom line is this: if they did follow the rules, these teams and their rosters both earned a spot in that last chance qualifier and the quarterfinals, and that should not be stripped away. So if this did happen out of, you know, out of just pure pressure from these NA organizations, you know, there's probably no reason that they're going to revoke this, but it's definitely unfair for these teams, and I do feel bad. Now, apparently LG did break a common rule. I'm not sure what that was, but the former SK Gaming roster, now Team X, they didn't break any of the rules. I really do feel bad for them. They had a chance in that last chance qualifier, but it's very unfortunate what happened. And again, this just gives every single person out there even more reason to hate on North American CSGO. Even if they're right and they did break some of these rules in the rulebook and had a reason to be disqualified, it's still going to give everyone the right to hate on North American CSGO, which really just sucks in this situation. And last in today's CSGO news, if anyone still cares about Team Splyce, another North American organization, also one of the teams that I believe wrote in for Eleague, the struggles continue as they previously dropped Abe and also Professor Chaos. Professor Chaos came back to coach the team, but they still dropped those 2 players from their current roster. And just weeks later, now Jason R is also off the team. That's 3 members in the past month or so. You know, 60% of the roster just gone like that. The team hopes to announce a new complete roster by next week sometime, as their only 2 remaining members from the original squad now are Aya and Davey. So really more bad news coming for Splyce. Maybe they'll pick up some 3 good players, but who knows the future of this organization. Holy crap, it feels like it's 80 degrees in my room. I cannot stop sweating. As always, live, love, laugh a lot. I hope you guys all enjoyed today's CSGO news episode. I hope I didn't rush it too much. As always, live, love, laugh a lot. I will see you guys all tomorrow with a CSGO news episode and a CSGO stream. As always, remember, I like you. You know what's coming. Goodbye!